Start off with something very basic in today's video, a flashlight. And as you can see, this one here is metal. Some people are like, well, what does it matter if I carry a metal flashlight or a plastic one? Well, police carry metal flashlights for a good reason, and this is why anybody that carries a flashlight for anything, I would suggest that you have a metal flashlight. One, they're way more durable if you drop them, and number two, they are a great self-defense tool. A lot of people don't think of a flashlight being a self-defense tool. Well, here is why they are a self-defense tool, though. If you need to, and this is the only thing that you can get to, because it's metal, you can take it, you can hit somebody with it if you have to, if you're trying to get them off of you in a self-defense scenario. And some people think, well, it's not really practical for me to kind of run a flashlight all the time. I was a person that carried around in my last job, and people could vouch for me on this too. I would carry around 10 or 12 flashlights a lot of times, smaller ones and everything, because I like having backups to my backups to my backups. I am probably one of the most prepared people for any type of situation. I'm the guy that always has everything whenever they need it, and that's what my friends groups are always like. Just ask Jared, he has everything, and that's true. I usually do. I don't think I've ever not had anything that people have asked me for. So, got to be thinking ahead, and I like carrying a flashlight as well, and these are great to carry in your car just in case you break down or something. And then if you're a person that, again, if you're not going to be carrying anything else, but if you have this in your car, then having this to try to fend off somebody with, I mean, you hit somebody with this, especially if you hit them in the head or something, they're going to feel it. So flashlights are a great tool to have around for anything, and this one is rechargeable, so it just makes it even better. So I can just plug it into my phone charger, it recharges, and then I don't have to worry about batteries or anything. Make sure that if you're buying these, though, that you're buying a heavier one that is metal and not one that is over the top, like really thin and everything, because those have kind of been known to break in some of the tests I've been doing. The next thing I want to talk about are knives. I did an entire video on knives and what a knife could be practical to you in situations and all the different types of knives. I didn't even cover them all. I covered a lot of them, though. But knives are great for a couple of reasons. First off, if you're in a self-defense type situation, nobody wants to go to ground with the person that has the knife. Now, generally, a pocket knife like this right here is generally a better option than something as big as this Rambo style survival hunting knife I have right here. This pocket knife I have right here is the right size, and you can carry whatever you want. I would recommend that if you're going to carry a knife for self-defense, you get one that's probably stainless steel and a little bit more durable. If you're going to carry one that's a straight blade, get one that's full tang. And if you don't know what full tang means, it just means the blade goes all the way through the handle. And I go into way more detail than that in my knife video. So if you want more detail on knives, you can go over that video. But are they practical for self-defense tool? They are if you are in a self-defense situation where somebody's on top of you and you're going hand-to-hand, so to speak, hand-to-hand combat. They're phenomenal. As long as the other person doesn't have a gun or something else that can outdo you. And even if they have a knife, at least you have a knife as well, which evens up those odds. And people see that you have a knife. You have to remember this, most criminals and bad guys are cowards. They try to prey on the weaker people. People that are weaker than them, who aren't armed, who don't have that, who they think don't have a skill set. So most criminals, and a lot of people don't know this, or people who are looking to prey on people, do not just go and attack that person. They usually watch them for a long time, sometimes over the course of several days, if you're going to your job or something, and they notice how they act. They're not going to go after somebody that's alert. So just remember that. If you're going down the street, always be alert. Kind of be like gazing around, because you never know who might be watching you. And that's where something just like a knife too. Knives are great too because they're easier to conceal, even easier to conceal than a gun is. So that's where they really become a great tool. And if you're going to not carry a gun, again, and these are usually easier to deploy than a gun. It's kind of weird to say, but in all the situations and all the scenarios, and I have friends who are law enforcement, friends that are military, and all the scenarios that they've ever had happen, knives are more practical than a gun in a lot of scenarios because you can get it out. It's not as easy to disarm you with it because if they try to grab it, they're going to get cut. And again, most of these types of people are cowards. They do not want to get injured. Now, some people are just crazy. So you got to keep that in mind too. And there was I'll get into that story when I get into the firearm aspect of this video. But knives, to conclude on knives, great self-defense tool. They also have multiple other uses, and if you want to know what those are, go watch my video on all knives. I actually have 2 videos on knives on this channel. The next thing I want to talk about is pepper spray. Pepper spray is one of those things that you can get fairly cheap. This is a $5 canister right here. It'll tell you how many sprays it's good for. Now, there's pepper spray and pepper gel. This is the pepper gel, actually. So people don't understand the difference. I like the gel better than I do the spray because it's more concentrated in the area that you're spraying it in. If you do pepper spray, it just kind of hangs in the air and everything. This hits what you're going after. So gel also seems to work better in my experience, just on testing and everything. It just seems to work better than pepper spray. However, the problem with pepper spray is this. If you pepper spray somebody that has been pepper sprayed a lot by police before, and they are a repeat offender criminal, somebody that's going to attack you in these types of situations, pepper spray and pepper gel may not be your best bet because some people are immune to it. You can spray them over and over and over again, and it's just not going to affect them. Or they could be prior law enforcement because a lot of them have to be pepper sprayed as part of their training. So they're not going to be affected by it. If they are an ex-cop or something that is attacking you, and that has been known to happen, people who've been kicked off the force for various things. Pepper spray, though, great tool to have if it's somebody. I'm not saying don't carry it. It wouldn't be my first choice and my first option for people to carry it. I would not recommend it to somebody. Now, it's great when you pair it with something else. So if you have the pepper spray, you could do a self-defense situation to where you have your knife in one hand and the pepper spray in the other. If it's a situation to where it's life and death and you can't get out of there and you have to spray them, then yes. The pepper spray, if it doesn't work, then you have this. Or you could even pair it up with the flashlight. Because you could use this as a weapon. Pepper spray don't work, and you have to resort to going on the attack, like fully. This is what I would recommend, pairing up with one of the others. However, though, if you do get the pepper gel, pepper spray, you spray them, and it does work, then you need to try to get out of there. Because you don't need any more trouble than what it's probably going to get caused. Because you have to remember, sometimes cases are weird, and people do not know the laws as well as they think they do. And this is coming from people who've been in law enforcement. A guy that I know that was in the Border Patrol for 20 years, federal enforcement agencies and everything, and people at the FBI and every other law enforcement agency. I have friends who work for all of them. And I can tell you this. You do not know the laws as well as you think you do. Lawyers don't know the laws as well as a lot of people think they do. They do have to look up things for different cases. Now, after they do it for a while, yes, they get that. There's so many laws, and the laws are always changing. So you don't know it, and that's why in a self-defense situation, if you can back out of it, back out of it. All the tools I'm showing you today are just made for if you cannot get out of there. And something I got to say in this video as well is don't try to play the hero. I mean, a lot of people have this idea that they are like, well, I'm going to stop him before he does this to somebody else. That's all fine and dandy in your head. But you got to think about, you're putting yourself in danger. You could be putting other people in danger as well, depending on the area that you're in. That's kind of like the theory of every gun or every bullet that you fire out of your gun is your responsibility. So even if you are taking down an active shooter, an attacker, and you shoot them, but that bullet those extra bullets you fired for some reason go through, or they miss them and they hit some other bystander, you're going to prison for that. So that's what I mean by always back out of a situation if you can. So that being said, I'm going to get back into the items I'm talking about today. The next one I want to talk about is the taser. Tasers are great, and that sound is pretty cool too. However, tasers are just like the pepper spray. Sometimes tasers don't affect people like they do others. Those little probes that you see cops use sometimes, they shoot them out of their guns. There's a couple probes on there. If both probes don't hit, because they have to make the full circuit around, if only one of them hits, then it's not getting charged, and so it won't take them down. People who are high on drugs or anything, illegal drugs, and I've seen a high-speed chase take place down the highway in front of a house I used to live in, and they had state troopers and county police and everybody and their brother after this guy, and they actually tased him up there by the Sonic. He got out of his car, police tased him, and then he ended up just getting back in his car and driving off because he was so high on drugs. And that is something that you got to take into account too. So tasers don't always work, and it depends on as well where you hit somebody